What is going on, guys? It's Modded Warfare here. Welcome back to another PS4 tutorial. So in this tutorial I'm going to be showing you guys how to convert Skyrim PC mods to run on your jailbroken PS4, 4.05 or 4.55, or whenever this 5.05 jailbreak comes out, it should work on that as well. So obviously on retail PS4s you can only install mods that use in-game assets, but on a jailbreak we can pretty much install any PC mod, or the majority of PC mods. We can install even ones that have custom textures and models and sounds and all that kind of stuff. So what you're going to need is you're going to need the game downloaded. So you're going to need the fake package version of the game. Just Google it. Google is your friend. I'm not going to show you where you can get that. Or if you have the game on disk, then you can dump it and turn it into a package file. So make sure you have the game downloaded and installed on your PS4. Then what we're going to do is we're going to need a few different things. We're going to need the fake package tools. So I'll link that in the description. We'll need the Skyrim conversion tools PS4 version, which is basically just a collection of tools for converting Skyrim mods that I've just put into one zip file for you. So just go ahead and download that. And then also you're going to need some mods that you want to convert, so I recommend just going to Nexus mods and downloading some mods from Skyrim Nexus. Just make sure it is the special edition version of mods that you're downloading, not mods for the original Skyrim, because some of those won't work. Okay, so the first thing we're going to need to do is extract this package file into the raw game files. So in order to do that, we need to go ahead and run Orbis pub check from the fake package tools. And then you're going to go ahead and drag your game package file inside. If that doesn't work, you can go ahead and click add image if you can't drag and drop. Then extract files, enter the passcode as all zeros until the extract button is clickable. And then you just want to select all files, then select a directory to save the files into. And then just click start, and it will start extracting all of these game files into the directory that you specified. So once that's finished, that will take a while, but once it's finished, you'll have two folders in here. You'll have your image 0 folder and your SC0 folder, and in the image 0 folder is all of your extracted game files. Now if it wasn't able to extract them, then it's probably because your game has a different passcode other than all zeros, so you'll have to download the game again from a different place, because the passcode needs to be all zeros, or you need to know what the passcode is in order to extract the files. So once we've got all the files extracted here, what we're going to do is we're going to create a modded update that's going to patch the game, and our modded update is going to have all of our PC mods on there, and we're going to patch the game with that update. So in order to create a modded update, we're going to need to create the update structure. So it's not too difficult. All we're going to do is we're going to create a folder. We're going to create a folder called modded update, and in there we're going to create some files. So first thing we need is to create a image 0 folder with an uppercase I, and then in there we're going to create a data folder with nothing in it, and then we're also going to go into our main game folder where our extracted files are, and we're going to copy our SCE system folder, eboot.bin and skyrim.ini into the modded update. So inside image 0 for our modded update, we're going to paste those in. And then finally we need one more thing, which is the SC0 folder in our extracted files. We're going to copy all of the files in here and the folder, and then we're going to go into modded update, image 0, SCE system, and paste them in here. And now we have the update structure ready to patch the game. So now all we have to do is start adding our mods. So first mod I'm going to do is a really simple one, which is Cheating Chests Riverwood. So we're just going to add this in. So this just adds a bunch of loot chests into Riverwood. So it's just an ESP file, so all you want to do is put it in the data folder. So we're going to extract that into our data folder, and then copy the name of it, go into back into image 0, run the skyrim.ini in Notepad. So we need to add our mod as a test file. Any ESP or ESM files need to be added in the INI file as a test file, just like the DLCs are. So all we have to do is add another one underneath, so s test file 4 equals, and then the name of the mod .esp or ESM if it's an ESM file, and then just go ahead and save it. So that's us added that mod. We could patch the game with this now, and that mod would be applied to the game. Now let's add some more though, because there's some more complicated mods that we have to convert here. So Death Star Moon is just a texture replacement, and as you can see it's just a folder called textures, and then you've got textures sky, and then you've got your DDS files. This is actually a mod for the original Skyrim, but it will work on special edition. So all we do is copy the texture folder directly into the data folder, and the clever thing is that the game is actually designed to run the files from the directory first before it goes looking in the BSA archives. So it will automatically run the files inside the texture folder, and that mod should work absolutely fine. So that's another simple one. But let's start getting into some more complicated mods here. So Pure Waters Special Edition version. So this is a water retexture mod. So this comes as a textures.bsa and an ESP file. So again, we just copy these into the data folder, and we rename to copy the name of Pure Waters. We head back into our Skyrim.ini, add it as another test file. So s test file 5 equals purewaters.esp, and then we can go ahead and save. But there's also a BSA archive. Now normally with BSA archives, so long as it's not textures, this one is a textures, so long as it's not textures, you can actually, or sounds, if the BSA archive does not contain textures or sounds, and you can figure this out by just using this BSA extractor in the conversion tools. You can just drag your BSA file into here, and then it will give you what files are in here. So there's textures. So if the BSA does not contain any textures or any sounds, then you can actually just add it to the INI file. So if you scroll down on the INI file, you'll find there's an archive section here with all the archives added, all the BSAs. So just add it to the end of this one, Skyrim-sound. So just do comma space, paste in your BSA archive .bsa and save it, and that will work as long as it's not textures or sounds. If it's just scripts or meshes or anything else, then it will work fine just like that. Unfortunately though, this one contains textures, and textures do not load. For some reason the game cannot load them because it's the PC version of the textures, but it will load the textures if they're in just, you know, the raw folder like this. So what we have to do is extract this BSA archive into this texture folder. So again, pretty simple. All you have to do is run this BSA extractor and go ahead and click extract textures. So we'll just extract it into this texture folder where we've got sky. I think it creates the texture folder as well. Yeah, it does. So we'll have to copy these out in here. So there we go. We now have our water effects. Our water textures are all added there into the root of the textures directory instead of that BSA archive. So we can now remove the BSA archive. Oh, need to close this first. There we go. So we can remove the BSA archive, and that should work just fine now. So yeah, textures will not load from a BSA, so you're going to have to extract them if you have any textures BSA archives on whatever mod you're converting. But that's that mod fully converted. It should work fine now. So let's look at a more complicated mod. So Magicka Sabers, which is the lightsaber mod. So this one comes as meshes, sounds and textures, but it's not in a BSA. So all we have to do is of course extract our ESP file, and then sounds and meshes we can just copy straight into the root, and textures, we'll go into textures here. We've got a weapons folder, we can add that in, and that's basically that. Normally these do not have an uppercase first character, but I don't think it really matters. I'll just put them lowercase anyway. So yeah, that mod will work. However, the problem is the sounds will not work, and that's because the sounds are in WAV format, which cannot run on the PS4. The PS4 requires all sounds to be 89, which is their own specific audio format. So what you have to do is convert them into an 89 file. Now again, I included a tool in the Skyrim conversion tools, which is an XMA to 89 converter, which will also convert WAV. So if you go ahead and run XWM to 89, so this is a little GUI tool I made to make this a little bit easier, because otherwise you'd have to do each file one by one in a command line tool, which just takes forever. It's not fun. So yeah, all you have to do with this tool is just drag all your audio files in, and you've got this looped checkbox, and that's for any audio that repeats constantly. So some audio that's always repeating. So something like this lightsaber loop, which is probably just the hum of the lightsaber, which is always repeating. So for things like that, you want to check the looped checkbox, which will add something to it that makes it repeat over and over again. All the other ones I think do not repeat, so I'm just going to go ahead and click convert, and that's going to convert all of those WAV files to 89 files. And then you can just delete the original WAV files. So we delete the original WAV files, and there we go, that's us converted the audio. Okay, so now all we have to do, of course, is add our ESP file into the Skyrim.ini. So s test file 6 equals magicasabers.esp, and there we go, that's fine. That should work as well. So that's that mod fully converted. So you have to do some tweaks. Textures are problematic. You have to extract them if they're in BSA archives, and sounds have to be converted to 89. Those are the two things that can stop mods from working properly. So the next mod we have, the most complicated one, is the TARDIS mod, which adds the TARDIS from Doctor Who, which has quite a few different things. Like it's got its own custom room and meshes and textures and scripts. It's got its own quest as well, so quite a few things in here. So we've got 3 files. We'll put those into the data folder. There we go, and once again we have a textures.bsa, so we're going to have to, of course, extract that. So we'll drag this in here, extract it. So we'll extract that into the textures. And of course it creates its own root directory, so I'll have to cut them out of here, paste them in here with all of our other textures. There we go. So that should be that all added successfully. So that's the textures, and then we can delete the BSA archive. Whoops. We can delete the BSA archive now that we have done that. So the next thing we're going to do is open up the other BSA that the TARDIS mod comes with. So this one contains meshes, scripts, and sounds. So if it just contained meshes and scripts, then we could just add this BSA into the INI file without having to extract it. But unfortunately it contains sounds, and they're XWM, so they need to be converted to 89, which means we have to extract this. Create a new folder on my desktop. So I'll just call this TARDIS, and I'll extract them into that folder. Okay, so I've extracted them into this folder. So we've got meshes, scripts, and sounds. So with meshes, we just go into the meshes folder, we copy all of these files over. There we go. And then we do the same with scripts. Nope, we don't actually have any scripts from any previous mods, so we can just copy the whole script folder directly into the root. And then sound, obviously we have sounds, but we need to convert these first, so we'll go back into our Skyrim conversion tools and run the XWM to 89 converter. Now these files are not WAV, they're XWM, so it's going to take a bit longer to convert them, but we'll drag them in here. First we need to check to see what kind of things are going to be looped. So I would say anything with the word loop in it, like TARDIS engines loop.xwm is probably going to be looped. And then I would also say this TARDIS underscore hum which is like, you know, the humming sound that the TARDIS makes, which is just in the background and it's constant, so that will be looped as well. And I think that's about it. I'm not sure if there'd be anything else, so I'll go ahead and click convert, and then, as I said, it will take a bit longer because what it's actually doing is it's converting the XWM to WAV and then converting it from WAV to 89, so it takes a bit longer, but that's it all converted there. And once again, we can delete the original XWM files. Okay, so that is our, well, not all of them done. There's also this folder here. You can right click and clear list so you can add the next file in. And this one does say loop, so I'll just loop that and convert. There we go, done. Controls. None of these seem like they're looped, so I'll just go ahead and convert them. There we go, and then we can delete the original XWMs. And that's all the audio for the TARDIS mod converted. So now all we have to do is copy sound FX, and copy this TARDIS folder into our sounds inside the data folder. And finally, we can delete this since we now have those BSA archives extracted, and add our ESP file once again into our INI file. So s test file 7 equals .esp. And you can only go up to 10 test files, I believe, because I have tried going above that and mods above test file 10. So if you do test file 11, it doesn't work. You can only install sort of 6 ESP/ESM mods at once, but you know, texture mods, you have an unlimited amount of mods that you can install pretty much, since that's just replacing textures in a folder. You don't have to make any changes to the INI for texture mods. So that is basically it. That is how you go ahead and convert your Skyrim mods. Now, one thing I want to show you guys before we finish up here is an error that you might run into. You probably won't run into this problem, but if you do, I want to cover it just in case, where when you try and create your package file, you get an error saying that that your directory depth is too large. Now, this could be a limitation just in Orbis PubGen, or it could be a limitation with actual package files themselves, but there's a limitation where you can only have a file a certain depth of directories, like how many subdirectories. So for example, if I go to sound FX TARDIS controls, then that's from image 0, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 directories. So these files are 5 directories deep, and I think the limit is something like 6 or 7. So if you go, say, above 7 directories deep, you're like 8 directories or 9 directories deep, then it will throw this error and say that it can't add the file because it's in too many directories. So if you do run into that problem, then that's going to prevent you from creating the package files. So in order to fix that, what you have to do is compile these back into a BSA archive. Then it will let you add them. You shouldn't have to do textures because they're never more than sort of 6 or 7 directories deep anyway. But sometimes the meshes can be, 8 or 9 directories deep, and so can the sounds for some mods as well. So let's say, for example, the TARDIS mod had that issue where one of the files was like 9 directories deep. Then what you can do, since we extracted the BSA archive, we converted the sounds, and then after converting the sounds, what we would do is we'd create a data folder, because it has to be in a data folder. The root directory of these files, of these folders, needs to be a folder called data. That is a requirement. And then basically we would use the BSA generator, which allows you to create a BSA file. So out of the TARDIS mod here, what we would do is we're adding meshes, scripts and sounds. So we select meshes, sounds, voices and MISC, which is scripts. And then you want to retain strings during startup and retain file names. And then you can copy these 3 folders in. It should say the root directory is data. And then you would go ahead and do edit check all items, which checks them all. and then you can do File, Save As, and save it into the data folder as the name of the mod, which is STL TARDIS Regenerated, and then I can save that, and now it creates a BSA archive with the same name. And this BSA archive is essentially the same as the one that the TARDIS mod came with initially, except we've converted the sound files. So if we add this into the extractor, we can see that our sound files are now .89, and that mod will now work if we just add this BSA to our Skyrim.ini into the archive section. We can just add it to the end of the top line as I showed before, .bsa, and save it, and that will get around that problem, because now you're just adding a file, a BSA file, instead of a folder that's 9 directories deep. So that's how you fix that problem if you run into that issue. But hopefully you won't. You can just use the raw folders, which is much easier. It skips that step. So yeah, now we've got our mods added. The last step we need to do is go ahead and create an update package file to update the game with all of these mods. So in order to do that, we're going to open up the fake package tools, and we're going to first of all run gen gp4 in the fake package tools and select a directory to open. The directory that you want to open is going to be the modded update image 0 folder. So go ahead and open that and click generate, and that will generate the gp4 file. Then click this gp4 tab, which gives you the raw XML, and you want to edit the volume type and change package_ps4_app to package_ps4_patch, since we're creating a patch file for the game. And then where it says storage type here as well, you want to change that from digital 50 to digital 25, and then save the gp4 next to image 0, and there we go, we've got our gp4 file. Now before we can create the package file, we need to, if you want to open up a hex editor, and don't worry, this isn't as complicated as you might think. All we do is we go into image 0 SCE system and open up the param.sfo in the hex editor, and then all you have to do is down where it says version, you've got the version number, which is 01.00. You need to increase this version number to a higher version than what your game is currently running on. So mine is the base version, which is 01.00. So if I change it to 01.01, then that's higher than the version that I'm currently on, and it will patch the game with that version. And then you also want to change this GD to GP for game patch, and then save. So that's all you have to do. You can delete the backup file that it creates, and that should be fine. So now we can create the update using the fake package tools. We're just going to go ahead and run orbis pubgen, go to file, open the modded update, the gp4 file that we saved, and then if you go to command project settings, it should also say patch package. It should say digital only max 25, not 50. And then if you go to patch, you have to select your game that you're actually patching. So the original package file for the game, you're going to open that one up and click OK. And then you can finally build your modded update. So we build the package file, and there we go. It's going to create the image. It should complete and create the package file, as it has done right there. Okay, so now if I back out of here, you can see we now have this right here, which is our modded update. So all we have to do now is go ahead and copy this modded update to a USB stick, and make sure you put it on the root of the USB stick, not in any folders. And then once that's done, all you have to do is unplug it from your computer and plug it back into the PS4. Okay, so now we're on the PS4. What you're going to want to do is head to the internet browser and load up the WebKit exploit. You want to run the homebrew enabler. Okay, so you're all set. It should give you a notification in the top left hand corner, and that will allow you to run homebrew and install the modded update. So as you can see here, the version number is 1.00, So what I'm going to go ahead and do is scroll over to settings, scroll down to debug settings, which will now be enabled, and then go to package installer, and then you want to install your modded update, which should be pretty fast because this one's only like 160 megabytes. So there we go, installed. And we can go ahead and just check the version number of the game. So it's now 1.01, so it has successfully patched the game with that update. And we can go ahead and run the game now and see if our mods have been applied. Okay, so here we go, we've loaded into the game here. So first of all, you can clearly tell that the water has been changed. If you're familiar with Skyrim's water, then you'll know even the special edition water doesn't look particularly great, but this looks a lot better, a lot more natural. So that is definite. So Pure Waters has definitely worked. Let's see what else we have. We've got our lightsaber mods. The sounds are working on the lightsabers. So that definitely works now. One thing is that you've got to bear in mind that they will not automatically appear in your inventory. So, you know, I've got some lightsabers here, but you have to look at the actual mod on the Nexus because it tells you where they spawn. The same with the TARDIS. The TARDIS actually has its own quest, which you can see here. Found the blue box, I wonder what's inside. Locate the blue box, find the ancient temple. So you have to do that to actually get the TARDIS and get the spell to summon the TARDIS. But as you can see, it has worked. And there we go. The TARDIS mod has worked, the sounds are working. We can go ahead and hop in. Okay, now that humming sound in the background, that is the looped track that we selected, that TARDIS hum. And now if we did not select the loop option, then it would cut off after a few seconds and it would just be silent. So that's why you know, you have to pay attention to what sounds need to be looped and which ones don't. But yeah, as you can see, the mod is working. Let's see if we try and actually move somewhere. So we do this, we click this, and disable the handbrake. And it looks like we're moving. So yeah, you do get issues like that where the sounds are repeating, but that's because I spammed the button multiple times, so it plays every time you click the button. I'm not sure if that's an issue that's just in the mod itself, or if there's some other thing that has to be done to the sound files to prevent that. But that's just because I spammed the button so much. But it looks like we have moved because it's taking a while to load. Yep. Whoa! Hello. I'm not sure what happened there. I honestly think that's just an issue with the mod itself, not just down to where it spawned. Because I should be able to... Yeah. Yeah, okay, we're good. We're good. That was weird. Not a great example right there, but it does work. So I think that was just a genuine issue with where it spawned right there, and not something to do with the converting. But yeah, that's basically it. That's how you convert Skyrim PC mods to run on your jailbroken PS4. I hope you guys enjoyed the video or found the information useful. I know it was a really long video, but a lot to cover there. So yeah, but I haven't uploaded in weeks, so yeah, that's to make up for not uploading in weeks. You get like a half-an-hour long video. So anyway, hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I will hopefully see you guys in the next one.